calendar says it's springtime, but here at the Pittsburgh airport, it's snowing. It's late at night, too, and the concourse is all but deserted when a chartered plane rolls in. Even though there's no one here to meet them, this is a group of famous men. They have their own plane, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, they step out of it into the cold. What they do can affect the state of mind of thousands, maybe millions of people. Their own chartered bus is waiting for them. They stay at the finest hotels. Their keys and their rooms are ready for them. One of them, this man, is paid a higher yearly salary than the President of the United States. Of course, his life isn't always this quiet. New York, 1954. A ticker-tape parade for the New York Giants and their hero, Willie Mays, who leads them to a world championship. San Francisco, 1958. A welcoming parade for the San Francisco Giants as they move their new Western home. The hero, well, it was supposed to be Willie Mays again. But practically before the ticker tape had been swept away, San Francisco wanted a winner. And Mays, an Eastern import, had to prove his past headlines to his new West Coast fans. In years to come, Mays would receive everything from daily advice in the newspapers to a bottle thrown by a fanatic through his front room window to frequent booing on the ball field itself. To all intents and purposes, Willie Mays, the greatest player of his time, was starting all over again, having to prove himself to a new set of fans. It's a strange story, one that in a way starts fresh each day here in the little room. No camera has ever been here before. These are the hands of a major league umpire, Frank Walsh. He's rubbing new baseballs, 60 of them, with a special blend of mud to take the shiny whiteness off them. Today he'll be umpiring back of home plate at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Just a few feet away, meanwhile, is the Giant clubhouse. Baseball, someone once said, is America's form of bullfighting. And this is where you find the matadors. And where you find a man named Mays, perhaps in the whirlpool tub, reading his mail and complaining to his trainer like any other normal San Franciscan about a touch of sinus trouble. Then it's time to get dressed, autograph some baseballs. Guess they really do sign them themselves. Time to chat with your starting pitcher, Juan Marichal. Do a little careful surgery on a famous glove. And head out to the arena for batting practice. Not very many people here yet. Nobody at all paying attention to this part of it, seems like. Nobody except one man, Alvin Dark, manager of the Giants. Somebody once asked him what he liked to do to relax. He said, I like to win. Dark also likes a man named Mays.
I think that Willie Mays is the best ball player that I've ever seen in my life, the best all-around ball player. There isn't anything that he still can't do, and all the years that he played, there wasn't anything that he couldn't do then. I think in comparison to all the other ball players, in all fairness to Willie, I have to put him in a different category with any other ball player I've ever seen.
Mays remembers Dark as the Giant shortstop and team captain in 1951 when Willie was new to the major leagues. Today, Willie says,
I think he helped me most of all when he was a player. Actually, if a curveball was coming, he used to give me a sign that a curveball was coming. Then if a fastball would come, he'd give me a sign. He'd tell me where to play. And actually, I used to depend on him a lot for playing the outfield. You can have a lot of guys that have a lot of ability to play sport, but you have to have someone, to help you out like a pro.
But now it's time for today's ball game. Here come the picadors. Here are the banderillos. And in the radio booth, and the press box, the photographer's section, it's time to play ball. Giants take the field. It's always an exciting moment for the fans. Well, most of them. He'll come around once the action starts. The Giants aren't the only ones who take the field. Well, we were talking about Willie Mays here. Milwaukee manager Bobby Bragan reflects the respect for Mays that exists throughout the league.
Willie Mays is possibly the greatest center fielder that's played in the game of baseball. Almost every park in which you play in the National League, they point to places where Mays has made a fabulous catch, or where Mays hit 4 home runs, or where Mays threw somebody out from a difficult point in the outfield. His feats are fabulous throughout the National League. My humble opinion, he would have been an all-star player had he been a first baseman, second baseman, shortstop, third, any of the outfield positions, possibly anything except pitcher, catch, and I'm not certain he wouldn't have excelled in those positions.
Three up, three down, and the Giants come to the dugout. You are now actually in a Major League dugout during an actual game. The concentration, the bearing down by everyone on every pitch, everything that happens on the field is intense. You can see it for yourself on the face of Mays as he watches, studying the enemy pitcher. Those sunglasses, by the way, they cost $13 a pair. Willie uses them in the field. He'll take them off before he hits. But the natives are getting restless. It's a scoreless ball game. Come on, Giants. In the dugout, manager Dark begins to pace up and down as Willie Mays takes his bat and goes onto the on-deck circle. He'll be up next. Some of the fans have to believe their ears as well as their eyes. As now Mays comes to the plate. Science tells us, look out, Willie. Science tells us that a pitched baseball has been clocked at more than 100 miles an hour as it comes into the batter. But nobody ever clocked one going out. You hear it as sportscaster Russ Hodges describes it.
There's a swing, a long drive to deep left center field, and you can tell it. Bye-bye, Brady!
And the fans go wild. Out in left field, a policeman comes up with the ball. What do you do with it now, officer? It took Mays fewer than 8 seasons to become the only player in history to hit more than 200 home runs while stealing more than 200 bases. His first manager, Leo DeRocha, now coaching for the arch-rival Los Angeles Dodgers, describes this unique combination of skills.
Well, of course, Charlie, I'm very prejudiced when it comes to Willie Mays. I think he's the greatest ball player we have today. There is no question in my mind but what he can do, the 5 essential things, better than any other player of today. And that's hit with power, run, field, and throw. And with me, this is God-given.
Mays remembers one day at the plate in particular. The date, April 30th, 1961. This is County Stadium in Milwaukee. Mays had eaten a bad batch of spare ribs the night before and had to call the doctor.
Actually, I was out. Actually, I wasn't out, but a doctor came around and gave me a couple of sleeping pills, so I went on to sleep, and I wasn't intending to go to the ballpark that day, but when I woke up the next morning, I felt fine, so I went out, batting practice, I feel real great. I hit the ball pretty good, but anytime you hit 2 home runs in a game, Charlie, you just seem to me, I think you're through. But when you hit the third one, I know the fourth one is not going to come. So actually, when I hit the fourth one now, this is something I think only 10 or 11 ball players have ever done. They say now they would like to see me come to the bat the 5th time, but I don't think I wanted to because I probably would never hit the ball at all.
There's that power, but there's also that base running. Mays is known as one of the great base runners of all time. The late Ty Cobb said that Willie had personally restored the art of base running to the game. In 1956, for example, Mays stole third base 13 times in 13 attempts. Even more of his value as a base runner, however, lies sometimes in what he doesn't do. It was Charlie Grimm who said he can drive you crazy just standing there. A walk for Mays is like a triple for anyone else, according to some pitchers. Willie doesn't go over too hard with some catchers either. Here in a key play in the 1954 World Series, Mays steals second base. Moments later, Dusty Rhodes hits the game-winning home run. Happiness, to quote Charlie Brown, is Willie Mays bringing home a run. And here, 9 years later, in a Dodger game at Candlestick, Mays, caught by the long-range camera from behind second base, is still at it, running and directing traffic at the same time. Next day, Mays finds himself running behind teammate Willie McCovey as they round the bases together. The rules say you have to let the guy in front of you go first. Sometimes he just walks home, as in this case when teammate Tom Haller hits a grand slam home run. But one place he doesn't walk is in the outfield. Ranch Rickey has called Mays the greatest fielder who ever lived. Perhaps his trademark more than anything else is that famous basket catch. But that's not the only way he can catch a ball. You name a crazy catch, Willie's made it. In one season, in one ballpark, and against one enemy hitter alone, he caught 2 hard-hit balls with his bare hand. Here's the unforgettable catch in the 1954 World Series that Willie made off Vic Wertz of Cleveland.
Actually, the play that they still talking about is the Vic Wertz play in '54. You know, it was a money play, and people always really remember it because it was in the World Series and everything, and thousands of people were watching that game. So actually, everyday game, you probably make better plays, but not as many people will realize it.
It's true that Mays has made greater plays in the field than the legendary Wertz catch. Our cameras caught one of his impossibles on a windy 1963 day at Candlestick Park. A long, sinking line drive, not to center field, but actually to left. Mays catching this one is like a seagull dipping for a fish. Watch close. There he goes. Thanks, Will. Is it true you do the impossible? One of the youngsters in this group of Pennsylvania school children asked Willie. And Mays answers, if I do, sometimes I do it pretty badly. He might have been thinking about a play like this one at Candlestick, where he jumps higher than the fence to keep the ball from going out for a home run. His only comment about the play after the game was, I should have caught it. But these Pennsylvania school kids were asked who in the world they wanted most to see. And they said they wanted to see Willie. All of them are blind. the weather, you said once, years ago, that you preferred to play at night. Is that still true?
When I'm playing at night, I can see the ball better. I have no worries out there on fly balls. I can see the ball at the plate better, and it just was a wonderful game to me at night. In Minneapolis, we played most all-night games, and when I was playing semi-pro, we played most all-night games. And
when you were playing semi-pro, your father was a ball player.
Yes, my father was. My mother was basketball and track, and actually my whole family was participating in sports some kind of way, but my father mainly was in track and baseball.
Willie's memories in baseball go back practically to the day he was born. He grew up in this home just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. As soon as Willie Mays could walk, his father, a professional ball player himself, was teaching Willie everything he knew about the game. Before he was in his teens, Willie was playing center field for his first real baseball team, the Birmingham Gray Sox. Speaking with Willie on the porch of his home, in the exclusive Forest Hill section overlooking San Francisco, we talked about those Birmingham days. You actually were playing what amounts to professional baseball at quite an early age, weren't you, Will?
Yes, Charlie. I played professional baseball starting at the age of like 12 or 13. That means semi-pro around Birmingham. We had a lot of steel mill teams around at that time, and I played with them for about 2 or 3 years, and I went into professional ball at about 16. That was with the Birmingham Black Barons. I played around there with them for about 2 or 3 years, and the Giants signed me.
Your father must have been a help to you then.
Well, him and I played on the same team for a couple of years, but I tell you the truth, I didn't like to play with my father because I didn't like for anyone to criticize me at that early age, and I told him, I said, now, one of us going to have to quit. So he said, well, I give it up and you play, so because he felt that I probably could make it better than he was because he's about 36 at the time.
These are the Birmingham Black Barons of 15 years ago, stars of what was then the Negro National League. They played against legendary men like Josh Gibson, Satchel Paige, and their center fielder was a boy named Mays. A Giant scout, Eddie Montague, spotted Mays playing with the Barons.
That's right, Charlie. I just about fell out of the grandstand when I saw the boy. He was real young, just out of high school, and the terrific speed he had in the bat, his great arm, his running speed, his reflexes, everything. It just added up to a great ball player.
Mays signs with the Giants for $5,000, and his family in Birmingham crowds around the radio to hear the announcement. Next spring, he reports to Minneapolis of the American Association. Here's his first hit for Minneapolis. Within 2 months, he's hitting exactly .477, and the Giants call him up to the big league. He wore the legs of his pants so low he had to be told to hike them up. Otherwise, umpires would think his knees were down around his ankles, and that would have given him a bigger strike zone.
When I first came up, I was so nervous and things that I could do a lot of things, but if I didn't have anyone to talk to me and tell me different things that I was doing wrong, I would probably continue doing it. I was playing pretty fair at Minneapolis when I first came up, but when I came to the Giants, it was just like I said, night and day, you have to learn baseball all over again. And at that time, I had a manager in Leo, which I think is a very good manager for any young ball player, that they listen to him.
And Leo DeRocha recalls today one of those early moments.
Well, Charlie, when he first joined us, I know he went 0 for 24, 25, whatever it was. He just couldn't buy a base hit, but he was hitting the ball real well. And then one day we were beaten by the Boston Braves. It was either 2-1 or 1-0. And I came in the clubhouse and I was a little upset. Mays had gone to the plate 3 or 4 times with men in scoring position, 1 out, nobody out, popped up or hit into a double play. And I was a little disturbed. And one of my coaches came in to me, Herman Franks, and said, you better go talk to your boy. He's sitting in front of his locker crying. So I went down and put my arm around Willie. He was sitting there sobbing, and he said, he never called me Mr. DeRocha or Leo. He said, Mr. Leo. He said, Mr. Leo, and he talked in a high tenor voice, Charlie. He said, Mr. Leo, he said, I can't play up here. He said, it's too tough for me. I can't hit. I know you're going to send me back to Minneapolis. And I put my arm around him. I said, son, as long as I'm the manager of the New York Giants, you're going to be the center fielder. I said, sure, you had a chance to win the ball game for me today, but you didn't. I said, you're going to get a lot of hits. I said, we brought you up here to play center field, and you're going to play center field. Today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and as long as I'm here. Go home, get a good night's rest. Tomorrow's another day. The following day against Warren Spahn, first ball pitch, over the roof, and believe me, Charlie, he carried us. Literally carried us on his back for the next 6 weeks.
Mays becomes Rookie of the Year as the 1951 season ends with a playoff between the Giants and the Dodgers. He's on deck in the ninth inning of the final playoff game when Bobby Thompson creates the most famous single moment in all baseball history. We see it here now, and here's sportscaster Russ Hodges.
Bobby Thompson, who has had 2 out of 3. Bracker throws. There's a long catch, and it's going to be in the lead. The Giants win the pennant. 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 Bobby Thompson hits into the lower deck of the left field stand. The Giants win the pennant, and they're going crazy. They're going crazy.
So the Giants win the 1951 pennant and meet the Yankees in the World Series. Mays, the rookie center fielder, playing in his first World Series, meets his idol DiMaggio, the old pro among center fielders, the Yankee Clipper, playing in his last World Series.
My first idol in baseball was DiMaggio, and I used to try to do things like him, but I found out that it was kind of hard for me to do a lot of things like a great ball player like him. So I used to copy my stance after him, and I found out that it wasn't the correct stance that I should use, because DiMaggio was 210, I was about 180, and I found that I had to shorten my stance to even hit the long ball a little bit. So I copied myself after someone, but I just found that I couldn't utilize it too much, so I didn't do it too much.
1952 and 53, Mays is in the Army. In 54, he returns, leads the Giants to the World Championship as the league's batting leader and most valuable player. In 55, he hits 51 home runs. In 56, he becomes the first player in history to hit more than 30 homers and steal more than 30 bases in the same season. In 1957, the St. Louis Cardinals offer Giant owner Horace Stone $1 million for Willie Mays. $1 million. 1958, the Giants moved to San Francisco, whose native sons make up a who's who of baseball all their own. Such greats as Lefty Gomez, the Wainer brothers, Walter Mayles, Dom DiMaggio, Lefty O'Doul, Frank Crissetti, Tony Lazzeri, and 3 members of the Hall of Fame, Harry Heilman, Joe Cronin, and Joe DiMaggio. Without doubt, Mays finds himself playing in the shadow of San Francisco's own Joe DiMaggio. In fact, in the same center field position, in the same Seal Stadium, where Joe had started a quarter of a century before. San Francisco, proud of its contribution to the majors and proud of its minor league teams of the past, San Francisco wants a winner. But the fans don't get it those first years at Seal Stadium, even with Mays hitting a career high of .347 in 1958. And as the Giants move to their new home, Candlestick Park, the fans wonder whether they're ever going to get a winner. They start to get on the Giants, and they take it out on Mays himself.
I had it real hard in the first 3 or 4 years when I came out here. It was at least going to a new territory, and actually the press had built me up so that actually every time I went to the plate, they were expecting a home run out of me. But just like this tonight, if I made up that play, they didn't boo me for one day. Now, a lot of times they'll probably boo me for weeks. But why? I mean, they stop and think, why are they booing me? Then a lot of times they wouldn't have an answer even for themselves a lot of times. So actually, a lot of ball players, when they start to get those boos a lot of times, I feel that a ball player, he want to do something so bad that he doesn't do anything. But if you give him a little cheer, it seems like cheers begin to bring out the sportsmanship in you a lot of times.
Yet in San Francisco and in the record book, Mays continues to lead the Giants. And if not so much at home, he finds himself getting his cheers on the road. On 3 occasions, New York fans give Willie tremendous homecoming ovations. Here in the Giants' former home, the Polo Grounds, a new team, the Mets, plays now. But the fans still remember a man named Mays. They turn out 50,000 strong to stage Willie Mays Night, a startling tribute to a player on a rival team.
gee, it was just one of those thrills that a lot of times you can't explain them. You just have a chill that runs up and down your spine a lot of times. I had only had 2 days in baseball, and both of my days was at New York, and I still feel that I'm grateful for the people that are, around New York for thinking the way they do about me.
Of course, one of the problems San Francisco had was understandable enough. They wanted a winner. And in 1962, Mays leads the Giants into another playoff with the Dodgers with a home run on the final day of the regular season. In the opening game of the playoff, he gets his 48th and 49th home runs of the year. The playoff moves to Chavez Ravine in Los Angeles for its second game, and Mays is called out at third in a disputed key play. Ever wonder what goes on in those arguments with the umpire? "You're out," says the umpire. Would you mind repeating that? "You're out." Did you hear what he said? I heard it, but he's got to be kidding. "You're out." "Oh, I do hope you'll reconsider." "You're out," says the umpire. That's all she wrote. The third game of the playoff, October 3rd, 1962, 11 years to the exact date of the Thompson homer. Once again, the Giants trail going into the ninth. Once again, they score 4 times to win the game in the pennant. Mays gets the key hit in the inning. And then, in the last of the ninth, catches the ball for the final out.
Gee, I was so happy to see the ball coming to me. I probably caught that ball any kind of way because that was the last out, and that was a lot of money riding off that.
And the Giants fly home to San Francisco. And as they near home, their pilot has some news for them.
Gentlemen, our people on the ground have informed me that there are over 75,000 of your enthusiastic supporters down there. They've broken through police lines. They're out on the runway, and we may be forced to land at an alternate airport, but we'll keep you informed.
But the plane does get down. And San Francisco, that blasé, unemotional town. This is what it looked like at the airport.
It was a feeling that seemed like you belonged. It's a town that never had a championship club on it before, and it seemed like when we did win the pennant down in L.A., we came back home. It was just something that was amazing. I would say just about all the people in San Francisco at the airport seemed likely because we couldn't get the bus in, we couldn't land the plane. It was just one bad and good moment there. We wanted to get home, and here the people out there wanted to greet us back because we wanted. But it was something real nice, I think.
We wanted to get home, he said. Home, that's what he'd come to call San Francisco. When Willie isn't hitting, he tries to make up for it in other ways. One thing that has always been true of Willie Mays holds true now as much as ever. It's a deceptively simple point. He likes to play baseball. They said of him once he was born to play ball. And the San Francisco fans who greet their championship Giants in a preseason rally at the City Hall have come to realize it too.
I think of the people out here now realize that we are pros and we're trying our best out there and we're getting paid for it too. Actually now I think they have become to realize me as a ball player and no other than that. And I think they make my job a little easier by doing that a lot of times.
The fans accept Willie at last, always remembering that the baseball fan is at heart a fickle lover. Today, Willie's autograph is a collector's item. But Mays himself has said the life he leads can be a lonely one. And that the true fans, in the long run, are the children. And as Mays had watched his idol DiMaggio, now this youngster watches his idol, Willie Mays. Number 5. That was DiMaggio's number. In 1963, Willie Mays signs a contract for $105,000, probably the highest salary in baseball history. In 1963, Mays and Stan Musial are placed on an all-time All-Star National League team.
Well, to me, Willie Mays will always be one of the greatest ball players I ever competed against, and he's really an exciting ball player, and he can beat you a lot of ways, and he's a great kid, a credit to baseball.
Does one play that Mays made stand out in your memory?
Well, he made a play against me here in San Francisco. Here, I hit a line drive and over his head in center field, and the ball and Mays reached the fence at the same time. He jumped up against the fence and caught it, and everybody just wondered how Willie did it.
But that night game?
Night game, that's right.
I think he had an extra ball in his pocket.
Anyway, yeah, he had that one.
And in 1963, a magazine poll of National League managers rates Mays the top player of the decade. We talked to manager Casey Stengel of the Mets about that before a game at Candlestick. Or rather, Casey talked to us.
When I first saw the boy start, and got a chance to see him in exhibition games and also once in a while in the World Series, I found out that each year he got a little better batting. Each year a little better batting, and his fielding was very slick and very bright, but it came very sharp. He's a man that looked like he had a radar in his glove. It looks like when a ball was hit, he could turn, and if you just sit on a bench and turn your head quick like that, you'd see that he was in motion. He gets the start on of a ball. He's proven it to the present time. He's at his oldest age. He's probably the best center fielder in baseball today, and especially in the National League, because of the fact he has to play with an outfield that has terrific wind. It's impossible for some of the other outfielders, the left fielders and the right fielder, to make a good exact exhibition of anybody's feet. Now, he could do that in the Polo Grounds. It was amazing where he could take care of the center fielder and the right fielder. If you wanted him to, he'd catch the ball in right center, catch it in left center. He was good on ground balls. He could charge ground balls. He was fast on the bases. He was a base runner, and he was also a base stealer. So there's two things he could do on the bases. He also had spirit, and he also had the fact that he could draw the public. He could draw large attendance. And another thing up at the plate, he got better each time, each year, and became a great hitter. Now, there's most all the points you'd ever want, you might say, for in baseball, but it's remarkable how fielding that he can get the start on a ball. Now, the best exhibition I can give you, in 2 years ago, I laid idle in baseball, and I was invited by Mr. Stoneham to come up here at an all-star game and be his guest. And I threw out the ball, and I was very proud of the fact I got to see the all-star game. I'd been in 18 or 20 of them in the last 15 years, being a manager of the Yankees, winning pennants. The manager is chosen for the next year to be in the series. I watched Willie Mays that afternoon. It was terrific. I watched Mantle. Mantle I'm very proud of. He's a terrific player for me. And I saw Maris, and I'd brought Maris into the club. But it just showed you, when them men come into that park that day, the only man that I noticed in the All-Star that wasn't affected by a ball going in the air was Willie Mays. It looked like, even with the wind blowing, and that's terrific handicap, when he started after the ball, it just seemed that he knew even what the velocity of the wind was, and he was the only man there that the wind didn't bother him on a game that where there wasn't anybody looked perfect on any ball hit in the air.
And the 1963 All-Star Game proves it again. The greatest single performer in All-Star annals. 3 new personal records in this game. And Mays now holds an interesting lifetime batting average in All-Star competition, an average of exactly .417. But ironically, at the time of the All-Star Game, Mays' season's average is barely over .250. One of the worst slumps of his career. Once again, sports writers ask in print, is Mays over the hill? Is Mays washed up? Manager Dark says this.
Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, that's one of the most ridiculous things you will read, and that's right. Some of the columnists here in San Francisco have said that Willie Mays was through, that Willie Mays was never a great baseball player. This fella is the greatest baseball player of our time. I don't see how anyone could possibly say that. In other words, in my opinion, Mays is in a class by himself. Then you start rating the other ball players. You start rating the Mickey Mantles, the Ted Williams, the Stan Musials. And these guys that I've just named are great ball players. They were great ball players. But none of them could do the things that Willie Mays could do, because Willie could do so many things.
Then in August, Mays himself answers the critics. In the field, on the bases, and at the plate. He hits .400 in August. Personally keeps the Giants in contention. On August 27th against the Cardinals, as here our cameras record exclusively, Mays becomes the first right-handed batter in National League history to hit 400 home runs. Just 5 days later, in the same week, September 1st, against the Dodgers, Willie collects his 2,000th base hit. But Giant pennant hopes are badly shaken by numerous injuries. So many injuries that Mays, who often clowns in the infield before a game, is put in at shortstop for an inning against Cincinnati. A few days later, relaxing in his home, Willie laughed about it. You wound up playing shortstop for an inning.
Yeah.
Nobody hit a ball to you.
Well,
there are different versions about this. Some people say you loved it.
Well, it's always something that you love, Charlie, when you play a different position. I think, I don't know if I would have probably caught the ball or not. I can only say this. If I'd have caught it, I could have thrown it. That's one thing. And I was very much surprised when Alvin came to me and asked me and said, well, you want to play shortstop? I said, well, fine. I thought he was just joking. He does it all the time, you know. He said, well, you go and play shortstop at last inning. And I think the people in the stand got as much a kick out of it than I, because everybody's wanting the ball to come to me just to see what would happen. So actually, I didn't get a ball, so I'm feeling 1,000 as a shortstop.
If I remember right, the last time we played shortstop was for Campanella in a
yeah. I missed about 4 or 5 balls, and I just taken myself out and went on back to center field, yeah.
But it's not all baseball for Willie Mays. In a moment, we meet Mays, the interior decorator. During the intense pressure of those final weeks of a pennant race, Willie Mays looks for relaxation in his new home. And you think that in 3, 4, 5 years, as you become slower, you will...
Don't use that word, Charlie.
Less fast.
What's that, man? All right. Okay, all right.
You think you could help the club more in the outfield or in the infield?
Well, a guy that loves to run should be the outfield. I love to run. Like you said, well, if I slow up a little bit, well, then I might still can play center field, because only center fielder you have to do is to know the hitters and know just about what he have to throw. Now, the only thing I feel that would probably stop me from playing center field would be my arm. Mm-hmm. Now, when my arm slow up a little bit, then I think I would have to move to right or left, because then it would be a shorter throw, you know.
We're going to talk about the house now. A great deal of the decoration in the house here was done by you yourself, was it not?
Well, actually, what I did, Charlie, I went to a furniture store, and I picked out a guy, and we went around and picked out different articles for the house. And I said to myself that only 2 colors that I wanted in the house would be gold and white, and French furniture. So we went around and we picked out everything that was in gold and white, and we just tried to make a contrast of the 3, gold and white, and maybe white drapes or something. You know.
What about the pool table? Where is that going to go?
I have to have one of those, Charlie, because I have a lot of spare time when I'm home, and I have to shoot pool to relax myself.
But in late August and in September, there's no time for relaxation. The almost unbelievable pressures on a pennant contender take hold. On Mays, on the Giants, on manager Dark, even on the umpires. We asked umpire Doug Harvey if he felt the tension.
Oh, yes, definitely. I would have to say that it's more pressure because of the fact that every pitch means something, every play. During the season, up till the 2/3 mark, I'd say, they can accept occasionally something that may go against them. But now you've got everybody keyed up. You're down to the last couple of weeks, and everybody's fighting for everything they can get. And now if you get 2 or 3 clubs fighting for the pennant, just that much tougher, believe me.
Now the 0-1 delivery. High and outside for a ball.
And this September madness affects the fans as well. Giant fans, like baseball fans everywhere, live and die on every pitch.
Now the 1-1 delivery to Willie Mays. Swung on and sent high in the air down the right field line. Fairley is heading for the corner, running harder. The ball falls foul, untouched. Fairley really putting on the steam, but the ball fell untouched down near the Dodgers bullpen in foul territory just as Fairley was having to put on the brakes, fearful of crashing the wall. One and two, the count. Here's Miller with a windup. Mays swings. There's a base hit down the right field line, floating away from Fairley, landing against the fence. And Mays rounds to second base and decides to hold on.
Even in the Chinatown kitchen of Johnny Kahn's restaurant, giant pressure cooker is boiling.
Try for third, and the throw over there has been by
And giant plans from Toots Shores in New York to the Holiday Hotel in Reno feel the pressure. Here at the blackjack table, the magic number of 21 is quickly forgotten for the magic number of 24 on the back of Willie Mays. And the pressure on Mays, as usual, is staggering. Leo DeRocha said it. A man literally carrying the Giants on his back. Here in early September, with the Giants still in the pennant race, here is a man driving to work, talking about himself and the job he has to do. People say they don't believe you can actually swing for a homer or not swing for a homer, but I think you can.
I can swing for a home run, but actually I don't. If I would swing for a home run every time I go to the bat, I don't think I would connect oftener than I do without worrying about hitting a home run, because then I find myself swinging too hard, and a lot of times I don't even meet the ball solid. I have found out that sometimes I'm strong enough. If I hit the ball solid, it'll go out most every part of the field.
Meet the ball.
Yeah, that's just hit the ball solid. That's all I want to have in my mind. Hit the ball good.
Well, you've hit 2 or 3 of your longest in St. Louis.
In St. Louis, yeah. Ball goes real good.
Hit one off of Paholsky up on top of the light tower back.
Paholsky, that's right. I hit the scoreboard a couple of times.
Yeah.
I hit the scoreboard the last trip we was in there, too.
You hit the light out of the Dodgers sign one time.
Yeah. I remember.
Is it true that a ball club like the Dodgers, say, always brings out an extra competitiveness or something like that in the Giants? They're such old, rivals.
Well, I play the same all the time, whether we play the Dodgers or play anybody. I never, try to save anything just because we're playing one club or another. I don't believe in that too much. I try to just play my same brand of ball every day.
3 days after this interview, Mays was to collapse at home plate. In a moment, that story. Willie Mays, who probably gets thrown at deliberately by pitchers more than any other player in the game, talks frankly about this phase of baseball as he nears Candlestick Park. I noticed that you've been, since you came up with your batting average the way you've been doing, especially in the last month, that you've been getting a lot of balls thrown at you again. And
well, I think it's going to be a lot of stop to that. The only way we can stop that is that our own pitchers will come back and do the same thing to them, because I don't mean throw at their hitters, because the hitters don't do it. I mean throw at the pitchers that occasionally throw it to us, because I don't think no one as a hitter like to be thrown at a lot. Yeah. And I'm sure that we have guys on our club that would probably stop it in a hurry,
Of course, they've been stopping it, and yet it still goes on.
Well, it's going to go on. Well, the only thing we have to do is just continue. When they do it, we do it,
Throw back at their pitch.
Throw back at them, that's right.
Once in a while, those things come pretty close. That boy Hart who came up got himself hit pretty good.
Well, a thing like that, Charlie, is that Hart ain't dodge too much, and anytime a guy swings real hard, he's got to be ready to move at all times. Now, a lot of times, pitchers will so close to a guy, not the intention to hit him a lot of times, is to try to get him off balance a lot of times, to try to throw the ball in the outside corner, because they do it to me a lot, you know, and I'm sure that they wouldn't try to put him in the hospital or anything like that, attention.
No, I'm just saying that that danger is there.
Oh, well, it's always danger in any kind of sport you play in. I think it is, you know. So,
on the other hand, we saw a pitch the other day where you just threw back your head. You got a feeling that's not just a brushback pitch.
Well, things like that. Well, for myself, I know when a guy is throwing at me to hit me or throwing back to just brush me back. I know that, you know, but I can't say anything. The only thing I can say is that I hope my pitcher will realize that what they're trying to do and to keep me from hitting. I hope that a lot of times he protect me, and that's the only way I know how to get back at him.
Well, I've seen a couple of times when you've gone down where you've gotten back up and hit the ball pretty good right then and there.
Well, I can do it a couple of times, but it's not what you call real good hitting, because a lot of times if a guy knows that a guy is going to throw at him every time he goes up there, he's not going to be on his best hitting a percentage up there.
Won't be dug in as much.
Oh, he's not going to do it. I don't care who he is. A lot of guys tell you that, well, they get knocked down, he's a better hitter and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't believe that, you know. It's just something that...
it doesn't make a better hitter out of a guy.
No, I can't, you know, knowing that he's going to get knocked down every time he goes up there, you know.
Well, now, when you talk about the strain, as it comes along, you become physically tired, don't you?
That's right. You become so involved with baseball a lot of time, and the best thing to do is to just go away somewhere. If a guy gets real tired, he should go away. He can't go away, but I mean, he should be off for a couple of days, and then it seems like he comes back and he's much...
Well, this has always been true of you, I know.
I think it has.
But when you're fighting for a pennant and you're a Willie Mays, you can't take a rest, nor be given one. Unless, of course, fate takes a hand. On Labor Day, Mays collapses at home plate. The doctors say sheer exhaustion. But 3 days later, the Dodgers come to town. Mays is back in the lineup. He hits a double. He hits a home run. And still the Dodgers win the game. Now the San Francisco fans know there will be no last-minute miracle. No crowds at the airport. No receptions at City Hall. Not this year, anyway. As the Giants look forward to 1964, Mays also looks ahead to 1970. We asked Willie if he had any plans for his 3-year-old son, Michael, who now lives in New York with Willie's ex-wife, Marguerite.
Well, I've taken plans off for him right now, Charlie. I feel that this is the time to start making plans for Michael, because I know that even as a childhood myself, my father wasn't able to give me the things that he would like for me to have. Right now, I have a policy for him that when he becomes 18, he will have his schooling all arranged for him, and that he can go to college and feel free to enjoy what he's trying to learn. I don't know if he want to be a ball player, but I think if he does be a ball player, I think it would be a little hard on him, because every time he goes out there and the name of Mays is announced, that they expect for him to do a lot of things, and I feel that a lot of times he may not be equipped to do it. So this is what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to arrange for his education now, so that if he doesn't want to be a ball player, and I hope that he goes to college and get some kind of education that would carry him home in another field. You know?
Now in his early 30s, which is middle age for a ball player, Mays has to think of the future. Part of it lies in the financial guidance he receives from a San Francisco bank president, Jacob Shimano.
I'd rather have me some type of business where if I don't want to stay in baseball, I don't have to. But I have to start planning for that right now. I love baseball, and I think I can help a lot of young guys to materialize in baseball.
We asked Willie what would be the first piece of advice he'd give to a youngster.
Well, actually, Charlie, the main thing to tell young kids is not to try to copy a lot of baseball stars. I see a lot of guys, just because they like a player, they would try to use his bat a lot of times. I feel that That is bad for one reason, that the bat may be too heavy for the kid that want to use it. I feel another thing that a kid should get the bat that is suitable for him in weight. But again, the guy may catch a ball a different way. I always try to tell kids to catch the ball the best way they know how, and not to try to copy a lot of them. And especially that if you do try to copy someone, make sure that you catch the ball, the main thing.
A boy from Birmingham, a man named Mays. A.G. Spaulding, the father of professional baseball, had something to say in writing more than half a century ago. The genius of our institutions, he wrote then, is democratic. Baseball is a democratic game. The son of a president of the United States would as soon play ball with Patsy Flanagan as with Lawrence Lionel Livingstone, provided only that Patsy could put up the right article. Whether Patsy's dad was a banker or a boilermaker would never enter the mind of the White House lad. It would be quite enough for him to know that Patsy was up in the game.